Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Hiking Journal. In this episode, I take a tough climb to the top of Margarita Peak and its nearby cousin, the Margarita Lookout. Margarita Peak is the highest point in the Santa Margarita Mountains, part of the taller Santa Ana mountain range, and sits at an elevation of 3,189 feet. It's in San Diego County north of Camp Pendleton and south of the San Mateo Canyon Wilderness and just west of Deluz near Fallbrook, California. Due to Margarita Peak's close proximity to Camp Pendleton, that's the Marine Corps' largest West Coast expeditionary training facility that encompasses more than 125,000 acres, it's not uncommon to hear the staccato of machine gun and heavy artillery weapons fire from the surrounding base. When we hear the thundering booms that echo through the afternoon and evening near our house from explosives being detonated, it sometimes shakes our house. But instead of being disturbed by the sound, most folks around here just smile and say, that's the sound of freedom. Located approximately 38 miles from downtown San Diego in North County and 82 miles south of Los Angeles, Camp Pendleton has been the largest employer in North San Diego County for more than 60 years. Although many people think Margarita Peak is in the Cleveland National Forest, it's actually part of a privately owned 1,200-acre parcel south of the forest. In August of 2007, this parcel was purchased by the Trust for Public Land for $3.1 million that was obtained from state and federal governments. Nearly $1.6 million came from the California Wildlife Conservation Board. The rest came from Navy funds provided by Congress to purchase the lands to form a buffer zone of no development next to military bases, and in this case it was Camp Pendleton. The parcel was turned over to the Fallbrook Land Conservancy to own and manage, with the Navy holding an easement on the land that precludes development. Unfortunately, no funds to maintain the parcel came with the transfer, so the Fallbrook Land Conservancy must raise funds to manage the parcel. Now, Margarita Lookout, which is also known as the Santa Margarita Lookout, is a lookout point in the Santa Margarita mountain range just about 9/10 of a mile as a crow flies from Margarita Peak, and it seems to get everybody just a little bit confused as to which one is which, but this one sits within the Cleveland National Forest boundary. The original fire lookout tower was built in 1935 by the California Conservation Corps, and it was later replaced by a newer lookout tower and cabin in 1965. However, on August 23, 1969, a fire in Devil's Canyon in the northeast corner of the base spread into the Cleveland National Forest. The Santa Margarita Lookout Tower was completely surrounded by the blaze and the garage burned to the ground. But luckily, the Forest Service employee in the tower was unharmed and the tower itself did not burn. In 1986, however, the tower and cabin were both burned in a wildfire. On March 2, 1988, a Marine Corps CH-46E helicopter on a combat evasive maneuver training exercise collided with the lookout tower. The four-man crew of the aircraft escaped with only minor injuries. The lookout tower, however, was heavily damaged and had to be removed. Only a concrete foundation remains today. However, the site is still accessible via Margarita Road, which is also known as the Tanaha Truck Trail, and a little bit of climbing up a steep and rocky path. Margarita Peak is currently closed to the public until the Fallbrook Land Conservancy installs barriers to keep out off-road vehicles and surveys the land for plants and animals. The land will then be reopened to the public for hiking, birdwatching, and other forms of a more passive recreation. Well, when I was there, a large metal gate was already installed, and there were signs preventing vehicles, but no signs preventing hikers. So to me, it appeared to be open, so I went. Now, hiking in Southern California in spring has its challenges. On one day, it's 65 and cloudy, and on another, it's 95 and sunny. So wouldn't you know it, on the day I did this hike, it was a blistering 95 degrees. Well, it sure as hell seemed like it. Just getting to the trailhead was just a nightmare. Well, so far this trailhead has been a nightmare to find. None of the roads are marked. The ones that are marked incorrectly. Half of them don't have signs. They're all dirt roads. They all seem to be going the wrong direction. It's all counterintuitive, but I finally got to what I believe is the right road now, the right truck trail. I believe that cut inside the hill there, I'll zoom in a little bit. I believe that right there is Margarita Peak. And off to the right is probably the Lookout. one of the two. Maybe the Lookout's to the right, maybe that's the peak right there, I'm not really sure. But that cut in the side of the hill, I think that's the road I'm going to be driving up. And I know it goes up to the right and makes a turn, and there's a parking area where you climb up to the top. So I think Margarita Peak is over here. Anyway, I'm finally getting there. It's getting hot. Well, I have to admit, this has been the hardest, by far, trailhead to find. Well, this is the official start of the trail, or what there is of a trail, at the top of Margarita Peak in the Cleveland National Forest. It's an area that separates the Pacific Ocean side from the riverside, eastern side of the Santa Margarita Mountains. And right on the other side of Margarita Peak, in fact, the very tip top of Margarita Peak, going west is Camp Pendleton. So I'm really close to the Camp Pendleton border. I don't know if they'll be doing any live fire exercises today or not, but this was one hell of a trailhead to find. It's 9 o'clock right now, and I left the house at 7:15, and it's only 30 miles, 25 miles from my house. So there was a series of twisted dirt roads and truck trails. I had to put it in four-wheel drive. Thank God I had a Jeep. Car wouldn't have made it up here. Anyway, there's no signs, and all the signs they do have are wrong. So, using your Google Street Map, that doesn't work because there's no cell signal. Even if you save it offline, it still doesn't work. Even my GPS lost signal a few times in the canyon bottoms. And the only thing that saved my ass was good old hand-printed maps that I got off my mapping program. I downloaded a couple of waypoints onto the maps, and I was able to cross-reference the actual waypoints on the grid on my map with my GPS when I got to an open area with a good sky view signal. So that's how I got here. So it's a little more difficult to find than most trails. But this is the start of it right here. It says a watershed conservation area. This gate is never open. So this starts out as a nice wide path, and really quickly it's going to get to 18 inches wide, and it's going to be just a bushwhack scramble. So hopefully I won't get any ticks, and hopefully I won't get bitten by any rattlesnakes, and hopefully I won't get lost because no one's going to find me up here. Well, anyway, I'm going to head up the trail and start my little spur trail hike up to the top of Margarita Peak. I've only got about 10 feet past that gate, and I don't know if this is in honor of service members that had passed. This says Robert Ernest Cricks, U.S. Army, R.I.P. And here's another one. Don't know what this one says. Doesn't have a name on it. It does have a bald cap on it, but it's not a military cap. Anyway, it looks like my trail's going to start that direction right there. Now it looks like the yucca are in bloom already. And this first little section of trail isn't too bad. I'm sure it's going to get worse once I make the turn. And there's not a breath of air right now. Well, it looks like there's some sage blooming. There are some wildflower colors here, some orange. And it looks like some pretty yellow. And it looks like my trail has already become a bushwhack. But it is pretty down here. I cross my fingers for rattlesnakes though. Well, hopefully I'll be able to find the junction in the trail where it makes a turn. Hopefully there'll be a rock cairn that somebody placed. The other thing I have to be careful for out here is there is poodle dog bush out here. I do have pants on. There was no way I was going to come out here with shorts. Not with the amount of bushwhacking I was going to be doing. Alright, here's a sign. Looks like my path is going to be going to the right. Margarita Peak Preserve. And it looks like I'm heading up that direction. You know, I left the white spot down there, and this part here is pretty much straight up. It's about a 700-foot incline. And I did measure the distance. It's probably a mile, less than a mile. It's a pretty good incline. In the sun. Well, I'm breathing pretty heavy now. As you can see where my impromptu scramble's heading. You see a trail straight up right there. Whew. It's only been 10 minutes. I'm already out of breath. Oh man. But I got quite a good view behind me. I've got some really steep stuff in front of me. And it looks like there's some oak brush up here. Sure, it's going to be pretty crowded up there. A lot of bushwhacking. It looks like this is really steep though. I haven't had to dig out my gloves yet. I'm not too far from a really dense section, so the gloves might have to come out right here. Haven't seen any poodle dog bush yet either. Oh, I'm huffing and puffing now. You really can't tell from, on the camera, but this is another section that's going straight up. Maybe I'll get lucky and find some shade because there sure as hell isn't any right here. I don't think I've breathed this hard or sweat this much since I was a teenager with my girlfriend in the backseat of my car at the drive-in, you know what I mean? And it's freaking hot here. Hopefully I'm halfway up at least. My fingers crossed. Well, the gloves came out. I'm going to need it for this next section. I might have to hold on to some of the shrubs as I go up and to protect my hands. Boy, maybe I'll be lucky enough to find a little shady spot like right here. I'm taking advantage of this one little 5 foot, 6 foot tall bush. Provides just a little bit of shade. Maybe once I get a little higher up, I'll get a little breeze too. Well, sorry for the heavy breathing, but this is hard. I have a pretty good view off in the distance. Shit, I can't even talk. Well, I had to stop and take a break. Find a little bit of shade. Just my head is in the shade, but I'll take it. It's just so you get your boundaries. I'm looking north, east. Probably more east than north. And way off in the distance, in the background, all those communication towers. That's Elsinore Peak. Let me zoom in a little bit here. That's Elsinore Peak over there. And around to the right, you'll see that flat spot with that tower right there. That is above Tanaha Road. And directly behind it is San Gorgonio. And if I spin to the right, way off in the haze, you can see Mount San Jacinto. And you can also see the road that I drove up. There's another trail right there. I don't know what that is. It's not the one I walked up. It continues to go to the right. Another kind of fire road. I'll have to check that out when I get back. In the meantime, I got to catch my breath and cool down a little bit. Well, I did find a rock heron. I think that's what that is. So I'm assuming I'm still on the right path. Now my path is still going straight up, and now I'm starting to hear automatic gunfire, heavy machine gun fire from Camp Pendleton. When you get to the top, you probably hear it. Well, I don't know if that's the summit. That could very well be a false summit. I thought I read somewhere that it was, but the automatic weapons fire is intensifying, and I just hope they're not firing my direction. All right, now I gotta look for some cairns. On my way to the top, looks like it's up there. Well, I'm at the top of this ridge, and Camp Pendleton is over that direction. And if you're lucky, you can hear the automatic weapon fire down there. I don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from down there somewhere. Wonder what caliber that is. Well, it looks like somebody was kind enough to place a cairn for me. So it looks like I'm on the right path. Well, this is not Margarita Peak. There's no pole here. This is a rocky summit. I think Margarita Peak is behind me. Shit. This one just has some great views though. Well, I've been scrambling around the brush for a half hour now. Finally came to this place, and it's got a cairn, thank God. I can see the peak, but it's still a ways off. Well, I think I'm finally on the right path. The summit is ahead of me. As I'm plowing through the manzanita right now. Probably should have worn a long sleeve shirt rather than a sleeveless shirt. Already been stabbed by a few things already. A little blood loss won't hurt anybody, I guess, huh? Oh. Keep plowing through. Well, I just picked the tick off my glove and off my arm. As I'm working my way up here. So this is definitely going to be a tick check when I get home. Hell, I might even strip down when I get to the car. There's nobody around. I don't blame him, I wouldn't be here either. I don't think I'm that far. Jesus. I tripped over a root. I still can't see where the automatic weapon fire is coming from. Well, I think I'm almost there. There's a pole right there. I think that's it. All right, well, I think this is the summit right here. Margarita Peak. Oh, I just whacked my camera. Just heard something. Hopefully nothing fell off my pack. Whew. Well, I reached it. The summit, the Santa Margarita Peak. There's not much here. Tell you what, it's one of the hardest damn hikes I've ever been on. See if I can find a benchmark or something. Looks like there's a trail register or something. Bet you not too many people have been here. Boy, what a workout. Well, I finally reached Margarita Peak. There's not a I don't see a summit register, but there's a map of some kind. I'll scout around a little bit, see if I can find a summit register. Oh man, I think this is one of the hardest peaks I've ever been to. This was an ass kicker, man. A little nauseated. I might have to get something to eat here. Hydrate a little better. It's really hot. There's some swallowtail butterflies flying around and quite a few bees. So I'm not going to hang out here long. I'm gonna start heading down. I got to get back to the truck. I got to get back to the Jeep and get some more hydration. I got an ice cold Gatorade and an ice chest. It's going to take me a while to get down. I'm going to have to actually extend the legs on my tripod and use that as a trekking pole going down, because it's really steep. It's 1020. I have a little bit of a scratch. I got a couple of scratches. I found one. I got more than that, I guess. A little bloody. So I already found one tick. There's probably more. But it was quite an accomplishment. I'll tell you what, it's not something I'm going to do again. Take a break for a minute, get a little snack, and then start heading back down. Whew! Well, this is my panoramic from the very tip top of Margarita Peak, with the automatic gunfire in the background. Can't see the ocean because of the marine layer. Normally you would. And there's very, very little shade up here. I'll go a little farther to the west and you'll get a better view. But first I got to get some snacks. Well, it's going to be a 360 from the top of Margarita Peak. It's a military helicopter flying over Camp Pendleton. As I'm looking to the west, now I'm looking a little north. There's the little marker. There's a lake over there. I'm looking north. All right, now I'm looking at Santiago Peak way in the distance. As I swing around to the right, there'll be Elsinore Peak, Gorgonio in the distance, and then San Jacinto, and then down toward Temecula Valley, and then eventually around toward Camp Pendleton again. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm dying. This oak tree is the only shade I've seen all day. And it's about almost 11, and it's probably 90. I already drank about 2/3 of my water back at the summit back there. Once I get up a little, I don't know, another 50 feet, I'll be at the first summit, which was the false summit. And then it's all downhill from there back to the car. A few helicopters have flown over. And that the automatic weapons fire is still going on, but I can't see where it's coming from. I can't see the ocean, which I'm kind of bummed at because of the marine layer, but it is pretty looking off that direction because it is a little bit still green. It's still a little green over there. Gnats are pestering me a little bit, and I've got 4 or 5 good scrapes that are bleeding, but nothing a little first aid back of the Jeep won't cure, you know? It's not the end of the world. I just gotta be careful going down. It's gonna be slippery. Well, I'm working my way down, and if you know what screen is, where it's all loose rock, that's what I've been doing for the last 45 minutes. Pretty much. My allergies are kind of kicking in. I've only fallen once. It's like BBs on concrete floor. Thank God for the gloves. I've been having to hang on to brush as I go by. It's really slippery. Holy shit. Well, isn't that a sight for sore eyes? Holy shit. That was probably one of the hardest hikes I've ever been on. It's only 11:15, but oh my God. I'll never do that one again. I'm just glad I got a soft padded seat and an ice chest full of ice cold drinks. Whew. Well, I'm working my way up to Margarita Lookout, which is different than Margarita Peak. I got back from from that Margarita Peak and I was dying. I was so hot. So I took off my shirt, unzipped the bottom half of my pants, and just wearing shorts, and took off my boots and my socks. I'm wearing flip-flops. Now I'm driving up this pretty rough truck trail up to the top of Margarita Lookout. The road's been pretty good, to be honest. I don't think I would ever attempt this in a vehicle, probably not even an SUV, but I do have a Jeep. I don't have a lift kit or anything, but I do have some recovery gear in the Jeep with me. I do have tow straps and a soft shackle and bottle jack, and I can let the air down on the tires. I also have a air compressor if I need to reinflate the tires when I get back to the highway, but I didn't let the air out. I don't think I really need to. It's just I'm paying for it because it's a little rougher. But I can't believe how hot it is. It says, according to the Jeep, it's only 78. It feels like 98 right here. Anyway, I'm getting there. I'm not too far from the top. Well, this is about as far as the road goes on the way up to Margarita Lookout. I've seen videos of some pretty good four-wheelers making it up to the top. It looks like it's closed now. And this is the warning sign that forbids you from heading up there. Yeah, I don't know why I subject myself to this torture. That sun is just beating down big time. Well, it's another peak I climbed today. That is Margarita Lookout right there. This is the remnants of the pad up here. Where the lookout once stood. It was destroyed in the 80s by a Marine Corps helicopter that crashed into it. And I am still really hot. You have a good view of Camp Pendleton, and you can actually see the ocean out there. It's still in the haze, but from the top of Margarita Lookout. Well, I made it to the top of Margarita Lookout. This is not a beer, it's a mango LaCroix. I need my hydration today, big time. Feeling a little lightheaded. My legs are toast. That steep climb up to Margarita Peak, and then the steep climb up here to the Margarita Lookout. That was tough. And of course, I'm not wearing my hiking pants or my boots. I switched out into my Luna sandals. I can wear these just about anywhere. So these are great for hiking when there's a decent trail. Even if it's rocky, you can just go around the rocky parts. But anyway, at least up here there's a breeze. I'm going to take a few minutes and scout around here. Check out the view toward the ocean in Camp Pendleton before I head back down. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the Journal. My adventure up to Margarita Peak and the Margarita Peak Lookout. Two separate mountains on the southern end of the Cleveland National Forest. So anyway, that's going to do it. Thanks for sticking with me through that last long episode down at the San Mateo Canyon. And be sure and click the like and subscribe button so you'll be informed when the next episode of the Haiku Journal shows up on YouTube. So anyway, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Well, that'll do it for another edition of the Hiking Journal, the scramble up to Margarita Peak and its nearby cousin, the Margarita Lookout. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop me a note in the comments section below. Alrighty, take care and keep on hiking. Bye-bye.